Hail the Barbarian Horde! I'm Joe, and I'm solo here today. So, before we start, don't forget to buy Crown of Blood. It's a great and fantastic dark fantasy novel. It's Dan and mine. About, well, three kingly lines, one crown, and the battle for dominance of the land of Caledonia. But, anyways, as to what you really came here for, a review of Titan Comics' new Conan comic issue 11. This issue, which is about a week late on my part, whoopsies, sorry about that. Anyways, it's one where it just follows the heroes just going further into a dungeon until they find a sword, which, well, they actually find it in a sarcophagus. Naturally, the sarcophagus is very demonic looking and wretched looking. And here I can't help but think, come on. And this is where we have, of course, Brawl, who tries to warn against opening it. Cull hits him and says, screw you, I'm opening it. Fortune favors the bold. And it is like Cull to charge in if it means discovering more about the universe. He does have a mania about it. Hitting Brawl? Nah, he wouldn't do it. Never really. The two are sworn brothers. Wouldn't do that. And Brawl wouldn't just take it. It's just their personalities. So this is actually a big minus on Jim Zub's part. He did a terrible job here. So then Cole lays claim to this sword for his own glory. No, that's not like Cole. Cole's not a narcissist. What Cole is a very depressed, brooding guy. He would do it in the name of Volusia, if anything. That being said, even some of the dialogue about how Volusia is fair and whatnot, that's not Cull. He doesn't really idealize Volusia to an extent. He used to before he got the crown, but once he did, he found it kind of burdensome. He's a lot like Theoden as a character. Jim Zub doesn't seem to understand that, which is kind of sad, as he's not doing a good job with Cull here. And the trouble is, I actually had high hopes. So if there's to be a separate Cull run, I pray it's not Jim Zub who writes it. He's doing a terrible job. He doesn't really understand the character. Or Brawls, for that matter. So, heroic signatures? Take him off, Cull. Seriously. They're, as the meme goes, look how they massacred my boy! Or my boys, in this case. As to, well, Conan, he doesn't really have a role in this issue. He's just a background character. Come on! There's so much you can do. And then, the sword possesses Cull, and then it's revealed it's Thulsa Doom's sword and, coffin. And Thulsa Doom then does something to some of our heroes. It's not clear what. And, he basically holds aloft his sword. Okay. I don't mind the reveal of Thulsa Doom at the end. I actually really like it. That's really good. Him and, Cull have a lot of history because of the mirrors of Tunsun Thune. Tunsun Thune being kind of the predecessor to the later Thulsa Doom character. That being said, I like the love letter that Jim Zub writes to John Milius's movie. That I like. I like it when he brings in Thulsa Doom. I just don't like what he's doing with the Thurian Age. If you're going to bring in the Thurian Age, do it as a separate thing and actually get the characters right. So, Conan, like, this doesn't feel as much like a Conan run. Sure, we get him and the Elephant Man, which is a great way to start the issue, but I actually really want the Thurian part, that part of the arc of the story, just to be over. Please, please, can we get back to the Hyborian Age? There's so much to do with it. Like, this is actually starting to make me rethink my opinion of the zombie apocalypse story. Like, I don't mind there being a connection to Call and Brawl. I actually like that. But don't stick Conan in the same room as them, unless it's a Ragnarok type of end of the world story. We really do not need these characters in the same room. What you need is to kind of separate them because they're in two different ages. And it just feels like we're having Call written down, as a stupid moron, to, yes, prop up Conan to an extent. But you don't need to do that because Conan stands on his own. He already outshines Call completely. But at the same time, by focusing on Call in such a manner, you're kind of having Conan seem stupid for following him. And you're not really writing Conan upwards. You need to write these characters upwards, not downwards. And writing down a character actually kind of lowers everyone's IQ and value, at least in terms of the characters. By writing them upwards, you showcase them as grand archetypal figures. Howard tended to write his characters upwards, not downwards. Sometimes he wrote Call a little downwards to elevate Brule, and sometimes he wrote Brule a little downwards to elevate Call. But generally he wrote both of them upwards. And there was a lot of emphasis put on the grandeur and the greatness of both characters. So yes, I really like Call and Brule as characters. They're two of my favorite characters. They should get more love. But this is not love. This is like a chain letter to the Thurian Age. And Conan deserves better. So, I'm rapidly becoming very disappointed here. But hopefully the next issue will do better. And hopefully we'll soon be finished with this Thurian Age storyline. Let's just end it. So we can get back to Hyborian Age fun. Honestly, I'd really like it if Jim Zub wrote a straight up epic high adventure story of, I don't know, Conan saving the world, maybe in, well, Katai, Koraja, or Akolonia or something. Like, yeah, I know Hour of the Dragon was really great, but it'd be wonderful to have Conan lead an actual fellowship in a heroic adventure, to save the world, even if it's from one Dark Lord or another. You can do this with Conan. Like, there's so much more that could be done here. And I kind of think that maybe every decade of his life should have a great epic like Hour of the Dragon. So like Hour of the Dragon, Conan is in his 40s. And maybe there should be one in his 20s, 30s, 50s, and 60s. And just have these decades either have in the middle of them or at the end of them of his life, well, probably in his 30s, more middle, a grand, epic, sweeping adventure where, he has to use all of his wits, cunning, and training, and knowledge and whatnot against maybe not a Zaltotun level villain, but, villains at the level of like Fafamon or something. And I'm not trying to trivialize Fafamon, but it's just, let's showcase the greatness and grandeur of the Hyborian Age and of Conan, where he leads a band of heroes in a different section of the world. Let's say in Hyrcania, then in, let's say, Koraja, or the Black Kingdoms, or Katai. Like, this will build him up as a character, but will also allow other characters to be built up, explored, and whatnot. So like Conan in his 20s, you might include Valyria. But then you got to include other characters, where it could take place after Red Nails. And you have in that adventure something like, maybe not the One Ring, but um, you don't even need a MacGuffin, where the story is to stop the rise of maybe someone from uh, taking over the world, sure, but you can have a journey into darkness, so to speak, but with multiple perspectives, like, and like what Tolkien did, and you could have a grand adventure. You could have one or two other side villains, and just have it be multi-parted, and where it's across several lands, and Conan helps lead the heroes against the forces of evil. And there would have to be character introspection and whatnot, and the addressing of several multiple themes. This is not impossible. You would just need to have maybe one, maybe two writers or three, along with an editor, sit down, discuss this kind of arc, and kind of showcase, all right, here's the world building we're going to need to do, because you do need to do a lot of world building. Do it on the level of like Lord of the Rings or Hour of the Dragon. Both have great world building. And you decide on, okay, this is the main villain. So let's say Thulsa Doom for in his 20s. And you have Conan in Valyria basically lead a band of adventurers to try to stop the return of Thulsa Doom, or even Tuzanthun. And what you then do is you showcase that destroying him will be a very complex, difficult act. And so the heroes go and leave despite there being little hope for victory. And you could include like a Prince of Karaja. You could include maybe a mercenary from, let's say, the Black Kingdoms. You could include something like a adventurer from, let's say, Katai. Maybe someone from the land of Aquilonia. Maybe even a Pict. Like, well, our female love interest from Jinzub's excellent early arc. And what you can do is you could then have Conan, fight against the force of darkness. And this would take place in the Karaja region. Then maybe the next storyline of this magnitude would be in Katai. Then you might have one in his 50s where it takes... maybe two in his 20s for maybe Karaja and Black Kingdoms. One in his 30s in Katai. And then maybe, one in his 50s, probably closer to home. Or maybe in, the lands of the distant north. Heck, it might be interesting to have him team up with Tarascus on such a grand quest. I'm just suggesting, let's shoot for the skies. Let's shoot for the stars. There's no need to do such a story, like bring Conan Cull together. For Cull, you could do write an entire run. Write a bunch of short stories, then a bunch of Lord of the Rings level Arthurian Age stories, and world building the entire world and showcasing Cull, traveling all across it. My point is, let's, kind of do better here than just, superhero team up and just showcase people as morons. So if I have to rate this comic issue, I'm going to rate it a 1 star out of 4. This should have been better. The art is good. It's really good. Some of the ideas are really good. The execution's terrible. And a lot of the other ideas are bad. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out, the other videos on this channel. So like, subscribe, share, and also check out my vastly better written Crown of Blood. I'm sure you'll love it.